Welcome to Meet the Candidates 2020, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. Our hope is that these candidate interviews and profiles will help you, the voter, understand your choices when it comes to casting your ballot in the 2020 elections. While we can all agree that an informed candidate is important, we believe informed voters make all the difference. So we ask you to arm yourself with the information necessary to make an educated choice and to make casting your vote a priority, regardless of how you do it this year, mail-in or in person. Please visit shakopee.org to find out all of the information you'll need to know about the upcoming election, including polling places and times, and a link to the Secretary of State website for mail-in voting options. Hi, and welcome to Meet the Candidates 2020, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber of Commerce. My name is Angie Whitcomb, and I'm joined today by Scott County Commissioner Dave Beer, who is seeking re-election in November. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You've always been very upfront with bringing candidates in and having us be able to meet the people, especially this year.
Yeah,
kind of a weird year.
It is a weird year, and we gave people options to come in or to Zoom in, and we've had people take advantage of both. But here at the Chamber, we believe that a informed candidate is important, but informed voters make the difference. So that is why we do this. So Dave, why don't you give our viewers at home a little bit of an intro of who you are and a little background.
Well, hello, Shakopee. I am Dave Beer. I've been in Scott County, almost 30 years. Mm-hmm. But I think to the old timers, that still does make me a carpetbagger.
A new guy.
Yep, still a new guy. I did run in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I did win. Married, my wife Julie, 25 years.
Congrats.
Over 25 years, working on 26.
Nice job.
I think she would say most of those are happily too. I mean, I definitely do. I'm sure
she's coming in next. We'll ask her.
Well, we can ask her. Is there like some sort of a meter on here? Yeah. She would. 3 kids, not kids anymore. I've got a married 24-year-old. Yikes. An almost 21-year-old. Mm-hmm. Yikes. And my baby is 17. A senior in Prior Lake High School. Too fast.
So fast.
So yes, I am running for re-election, which when you said that, it sounded like so odd. It sounded so odd, but yes,
But that's why we're here. It's happening.
That is why we're here.
Yes.
I know I should have that should have been my key. I'm running for, I'm going to be on the ballot again.
Yeah.
I just wanted to run again. 4 years is so short.
Mm-hmm.
You learn so much.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, good things are happening. I don't know why I always kind of lower my voice. Like, I can't quite believe it, but good things are happening.
Good things are happening.
Yeah, so that's why I am running for re-election.
Great. Well, Dave, I'm going to ask you, what do you see as the most pressing issues in Scott County? And if reelected, what are your thoughts on how you'll resolve them?
Well, sort of the no-brainer is the world we're living in. Whether you think it's a pandemic or whether you think it's a scandemic, we're in something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have to deal with it. And we are dealing with it as a county. And there's only so much that we can do at the county level. We don't have unlimited funds.
Yeah.
But then there's this weird paradox of, on one hand, we turn on the news and the sky is falling, and we know friends and neighbors that are losing businesses. So there is like major trauma going on. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, at the county level, we're getting these digital dollars. You know, I like to say they're coming and going, but they kind of keep coming and coming, mm-hmm. which we then turn and try to get out to the community, mm-hmm. business owners, childcare providers, mortgage and rent assistance. Mm-hmm. Because that's where that money was supposed to go. Yeah. And so that's what we are doing as a county, which is a good thing, to try to get it in there, to try to get businesses and individuals through. Mm-hmm. So if you're a business owner that you might not have to lose your business, you can get through until
whatever
occupancy wakes, can get back to what it was. Or if you're behind on a mortgage or behind on rent, mm-hmm. you're not going to be homeless because we've got this little stopgap. Yeah. So, but it's hard to say that you've got enough for everybody because you never do.
There's never.
But it's a big step. It's a big step.
Well, good. Well, thank you. So do you believe that the county should make any changes to its allocation of resources as it relates to policing or mental health services?
My short answer is going to be no. Okay. And here's why.
Tell us.
A lot of the things that the county is already doing in those areas is working pretty well. Mm-hmm. Again, are you going to fill? You're never going to get 100% of the need filled. Mm-hmm. You just aren't. But we, through the sheriff's office, kind of dovetailing that for law enforcement for the sheriff's department, because obviously the cities have their own police departments. Yeah. But from the county's perspective, we have folks that they can call in But think about it. You're going into some potentially hairy situations. You don't always have time to make a phone call to get a mental health professional there, but we have that ability and we have that service available today. At the end of the month, we're going to be cutting a ribbon on a real intensive type service where people can come and stay for up to 90 days, I believe it is, to get mental health, which would then keep them from having to go all the way up to the state hospital, usually up north towards Anoka County. That's a big deal, and it saves a lot of money for taxpayers.
Yeah.
Because the county has to flip the bill once the state says that person is met a certain level, then the county starts picking up the tab.
Yeah.
So having this kind of service in Scott County for people that really need that kind of help, A, it saves tax dollars, and B, it gets people the help they need.
Yeah.
And plus we're in the schools that want that kind of help. We have all of those mental health services available today.
Which I think is going to become increasingly more important as we navigate through this rust of this pandemic and the fallout of it next year.
Well, we're already seeing that, the fallout, collateral damage, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but suicides, mental health, which is the ultimate, right? I mean, your eternity sealed when that happens. So trying not to get there. Yeah. And trying to be a county that involves community, not just, hey, we have this program or we have this service, but you need touch points. I mean, you need community, you need relationships. Yeah. Life is better connected than it is isolated. Absolutely. And we're seeing a whole lot of that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this. You've touched on it a little bit, but what do you think are the responsibilities of Scott County as it relates to COVID-19?
Well, that's a big question because we, as the county, which I don't think I really understood this before coming to the county or, in the county government. I mean, we are tied at the hip, knee, shoulder, and with the state. I mean, we're basically kissing cousins, which means we're related, but it's that weird tension sometimes. I know that might sound a little odd, but that's kind of the best way to describe it of sorts. So the state is really taking the lead. And so as a county, we try to support that initiative where we can. Yeah. But as a county, we're also going out proactively and doing drive-up testing. Specifically, I mean, it's not just but we're trying to really target groups and areas that maybe wouldn't have access or aware of the access for testing that others would. Yeah. So it's not limited. It's open to everybody, but we're really trying to reach everybody in the county so that you can at least know. Do you or don't you? Are you symptomatic? Asymptomatic? I mean, a lot of that is just knowing is huge. Yeah. So we've done a lot of that on our own. As a county, the biggest thing is congregate living. I mean, that's sort of the one thing we could probably all agree on early, which was really a very susceptible population. And the state had talked about doing, I think they call them strike teams is what it was, strike teams. And I kept asking, our folks, which we have really great staff at the county. Another thing I didn't really fully appreciate until jumping with both feet. Sure. But they are going, they have gone and continue to go to these congregate living facilities, say, do you need PPE? Yeah. Do you know how to work this to make it, more airtight? Yeah. Which sounds like kind of basic, but some of them didn't have that and definitely didn't have the training and the know-how to really make those things work. Yeah. And I know there's debate, which that's for another day.
That's another conversation.
But it's one thing that we could tangibly do as a county, and we did do. Great. Before there was any strike team, which I don't even know if those have ever even made it to the light of day. So we're, with the limited resources we are trying to be out proactively to combat this thing. Again, whether you believe it's a pandemic or a scandemic, it doesn't matter. We still got something to work on. Yeah, absolutely. So what is the status of the relationship between Scott County and the individual cities within the county? And if reelected, what will you do to build upon and strengthen those relationships? Another good question, which you probably already knew that. Well, one of the reasons why I did run, first off, I always believe in giving back, trying to serve your community. I did that when my kids were young, coaching in Prior Lake area youth. I had to get out of it when they started to get old enough to realize, hey, you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to baseball. Like, okay, it's time to.
You realize people watch this, right? You just outed yourself.
You know what? It is what it is. Transparency, right?
There you go.
So once I got to be 14, I'm like, maybe someone else better take over coaching, whatever. But or at church, I was super involved with church, men's ministry, and things like that because life's better connected, right? So I was rolling off the elder board at church, Grace, across the river, and this was becoming open. I know I'm getting to your.
I know you'll get there.
And I thought, you know what? That's a great way to jump in to be able to serve the community that I actually live in. Because to go to church across the river, it's not that far, but it's different. It's just different.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. Here I am. One of the big things that I wanted to do was have good relationships with the different jurisdictions. Because we're people. We're friends. Yeah. We're our neighbors. We're our friends. We're, there is turf wars out there. They're definitely, not specifically in the county, but there certainly is that. And there wasn't maybe the best relationships out there. And I'm not saying they're 100% the best now, but you know what? We work on it. And they are much improved. Not that they were horrible, but it's a big deal to, if you're doing a road project in someone's city or a township, to have the relationship, and because things happen. We just cut the ribbon on the 169 interchange today. That's a big project, but there's even smaller ones that, someone can't get in a driveway or someone can't. If you've got a relationship, you can pick up the phone, make talk it through, get the pieces and parts that you need to change. When you got a relationship, that is so much better. And Scott County generally has had good ones. I think we're getting much, much, much better ones. And I'm the chair this year on the board. So one of the things that I did is, and I don't do it often, but like if there's something significant, I'll call the mayors that are most likely to be touched by whatever the decision may be. Or when we had so many protests, riots, and all those things, I tried to keep them up. Not that we got pulled into it, but we needed to be prepared. The sheriff's office did to some extent, but just try to keep them informed with a phone call, and they appreciated that, which was, thought maybe that was happening before, but and it probably was, but just the time we were in. Yeah,
it's a weird time for sure.
So relationships are huge. I think they're pretty good. If you hear something different, please let me know.
I will let you know. I've never been accused of being quiet. So, Dave, as the Shakopee Chamber of Commerce, obviously we're unapologetically pro-Shakopee, and I know you need to be neutral, but we are unapologetically pro-business. How is your agenda pro-business, and how might that differ from those seeking to become a commissioner?
Well, I'm shocked that you say that, right? That was such a surprise. I can't believe that. Pro-Shaco. Is the county, because there's Shakopee is its own jurisdiction, Prior Lake, Savage, the kind of the bigger cities in the north, but Belle Plaine, all of the cities in the county. What we try to do as the county is try to have the infrastructure in place where cities can take advantage of or attract new businesses. So I'm a business owner, small business owner. Business tends to be the lifeblood of community with jobs and opportunities and eating establishments, entertainment, in which we are in an entertainment area. So the county people that came before me had the foresight to, hey, let's get our own fiber ring installed. And they did that. And that has attracted some big companies. And my whole thing is like, okay, we've got this. Before it just becomes, when it was new, it was vanilla with sprinkles. Well, now, big internet's kind of vanilla. While it's still vanilla and not just melted in a bowl, like we better strike while that iron's still hot to, are we marketing that the best? And not that it's the county's role necessarily to do that, but to work with groups, Greater MSP we were on a call with earlier today. We do have the First Stop Shop, which helps navigate those waters of business, bringing businesses to the county. Yes, I am a county commissioner in District 4, which does include part of Shakopee and much of Prior Lake. But as commissioners, we are county commissioners that are voted on by a district. But there's a lot of land out, I think, by Elko New Market with a major interstate going through it, which would be a great opportunity for some commercial development. And guess what? That helps reduce the tax base on individual taxpayers. So that's a win for Shakopee because you're pro-Shakopee. But if we can do that in the county, and let the pockets fill in where they may. Like, I am pro-business, tend to be pro-growth, but not at any cost. That's where I'm not a growth at all costs.
Yep. Good. All right. So you've successfully answered our questions. So I would like you to take a look at that camera and tell the voters at home why they should vote for you for re-election on November 3rd or before.
I know it is early. You forget about it's early voting, but I am asking for your vote. I am a fiscal conservative. I do need to update my website, but the data is still legit. Like, I try to be transparent and candid about who I am, what I believe, what I stand for. And I think people appreciate that. And if you're one of those people that, hey, you want someone to watch, try to keep taxes low, someone that's willing to ask the hard questions of how did we miss this by 800,000, which happens on a regular, with grace, because, we're trying to find information. If you're looking for a candidate that is looking out for you, I would really appreciate your vote, because I do believe a vote for me is a vote for you. So vote for beer this November. I'm unopposed, but I'm still campaigning because I don't ever take it for granted.
Don't take it for granted. No,
I do not.
All right. Well, thank you for your time today, Dave, and for joining us. And thank you for watching this episode of Meet the Candidates 2020. Thank you for watching Meet the Candidates 2020, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. Please visit our website at shakopee.org for all of the information you'll need to know leading up to the November 3rd election.